Society Matters.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to HMTV here at the Holocaust Memorial and Tolerance Center. I'm your host, Dr. Bernie Furshpan, on my series called Ordinary Heroes. And let me tell you, I've had some extraordinary heroes here, and today I have an extraordinary hero here, Ranelle Wolf, who is the professor of fine arts at the Suffolk Community College in Selden.
Yes.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You are quite the artist. I've seen your work. Beautiful. How would you describe the type of art that you do?
I think I am going, and I know I'm going to usher in modern sacred realism. It has not been done.
I love that.
And I have been in hiding with my work, very much like Hilma af Klint knew. Her work was not ready for the world. In her will, she said it would come out. She allowed it 25 years after her death. What the irony is, she made a living from landscape painting, but she secretly was very connected to spiritualism. And just a interesting fact, when they did show her work at the Guggenheim, it was the most coveted show ever. People from all over. And I think because people are hungry, they know what authentic is. They don't need any fancy people to tell them what to curate. Their souls know it, just like my students know when they've been seen and heard.
Is that also a connection to spirituality through the arts? Do you find that people become more spiritual, like yourself, when you express what's deep down inside?
It's beautiful, Bernie, because that's what we're naturally born. We're all born artists. There's nobody here who is not an artist. And we kill that. We kill that. In education, I have to undo that. It takes a half a semester to undo that, to unleash them. And it's actually, you're a doctor, you're a healer, many different ways to heal. But you have to go in, and the science, as you say, we all come from this one mother.
Right.
Which is what is a mother? Creation.
Right. Beautifully said. Is it your opinion that art heals and unites people?
It brings tears because I think it's the only way. I actually think the most articulate way, that's one way, but even higher if you could pair it with words. Or pair it with a great artist statement. Or nowadays, we pair it with a QR code.
Right.
Technology is an absolute miracle for this unprecedented times.
QR codes, you see that everywhere. They should have an exhibit of QR codes that might actually have, like if you look at it carefully enough, you might actually see some figures, right? Like when you look at a cloud, right?
Right.
Did anybody ever do anything like that?
No. But
you're going to be doing it.
You're an innovator. Well, I'm looking forward to, God willing, when I can do that here, that we're going to have a QR code that's going to talk to visual literacy with a story, because we are storytellers. That's how we've gotten so far.
You're a storyteller.
Yes.
Tell me about your storytelling and what it means to you in the way you do it.
Well, I think I have to go back to my grandparents and my grandmother, because I am a witness to a witness. Which puts me in a different category. I don't have many people left that me. We're a dying breed that could say we are a witness to a witness. And my grandmother, every Shabbat, let me know how we were exterminated. Every Saturday, I had to incur that. And she also said, make sure you're a Democrat. I mean, I'm not talking politics, but it was what I'm only sharing that is because she wanted me to know that we must think about people in that time, in that era. That's what it was.
Right.
So she would put M&Ms out to kind of make me sit there and take the post-traumatic stress is what I carry my entire life. So getting back to your question, as a child, I was given a story. And it was horrific. So as a child, being magical and mystical and creative like all children are, it laid heavy on me. And secretly, even when I went to Pratt Institute, and here we are in the Pratt Mansion, they didn't want us to talk about making a living as an artist. They did not want us to use this sacred realism. I came into a different era, but it was a wonderful era. And I don't know if I'm answering the question. So,
Well, you're getting there. But you basically, in my mind, triggered another question, a follow-up question, and that is, what do you think stifles creativity in young people? What is it that the things that they see on TV, on social media, what they hear from their parents, what is it that stifles them from opening up and bursting and exploding with creativity?
well,
Which is something that's very natural for all of us.
it's there up until age 10 or 11, where I believe, of course, I'm not going to take everybody along,
Right.
where you still remember you've come from God. The veil is not very deep. You can remembrance, like what this is all about, remembrance. So you remember that holy state. But then your parents tell you, and they do it only for your good. They want you to make a living. They want you to go in a certain way, carry the tradition. And so they cut that off. So in my class, I use this. I love how you talk about science. I use every textbook, like drawing from the right side of the brain, because now I have to take science and technology and have students access that right side of the brain, which is not bringing in the judgment of the left side of the brain. And then they could look at things for what they are and not be afraid to put that pen to paper, whether it be writing or an artist statement or anything. So again, I'm not sure if I'm answering the question.
You are, yeah.
So they come in, they're already damaged.
Right. How did they get damaged?
Well, we had COVID. That helped.
Right.
We've had a society where we're pushing our children, to be something in terms of dollars and cents, and that's good. But it should come, you see, we all have a divine purpose. Each person that's here is going to uplift the world. That's why I say, Bernie, you're one of the 36 people that hold up this universe with good deeds. Everybody has something they're supposed to do. My job as an educator is to bring that remembrance and cohesiveness through visual literacy. That is, for me, get rid of the medication. Do art.
Do art.
Open up your heart. Isn't that art? Art,
Yes.
art, love.
Yes.
Love, art. Tell me, what else can make you happy?
Fantastic.
Creation.
I love your energy. I love your spirit. You've got so much to offer humanity. There's a connection between humanity and the arts. And in fact, there are sections in the paper, Arts and Humanity. They put the two together, right? Arts and humanity, even in schools, right? The subjects. You've been a professor of fine arts. What made you go into that area of the arts? Why not just become an independent artist? Why did you want to teach it? What compelled you to teach young people?
Well, I come from a very great artistic background through Hans Hofmann, the teachings, where he ushered in a generation of artists that were hungry to learn about plasticity, how to make something breathe. I always tell my students, a masterpiece is the message and the light is the color in the grayscale. It's a metaphor for value. So actually, how do you teach value in a broken world? First, just to make a student, which they hate in the beginning, to do the grayscale, nobody can easily do that. It takes skill to create value. So isn't that a metaphor for values
Sure
in
is.
our society?
Yes.
And so when they begin to have a language of whether it's fine art skills or what I do in art history, now I'm encouraging them to do ChatGPT and to acknowledge the chats, the prompts that create the art. The students don't feel, gets back to the question, they don't say, well, I'm not an artist and I can't do it. And so I could help them in another way through the studio class. But the people who don't see themselves as an artist, they can now create too. They are so happy that they feel they can be a digital artist, but I'm giving them the skills and asking them to be visually literate and looking at civilization, just like what you've done. I mean, I love being here because you have to see where we've come from. Look at our mistakes, values.
Yeah, we, in our own way here, we try to bring humanity together. There's so many ways, so many venues of bringing people together and uniting them to realize that, we all share this little planet floating in the middle of the universe, and we can do a lot better. Together, we can do more great things than divided.
An artist just got me to read Atlas Shrugged. I'm just starting it, and she was Jewish from Russia, and she talks about the creatives. It's the creatives that create the great culture, and I'm glad she said this from the 40s. We need to hear that, because if you did not, with all your careers, helped you to come to here, and it's a creation, it sets people free. We're either going to make it or we're going to destroy ourselves. This is the most unprecedented time. This is the greatest time. I tell my son to be alive. And when he was young, he said, "Mama, what should I be? A doctor or a lawyer?" I said, No, you're asking the wrong. You got a mama doesn't feel this way. I'm going to say, "Joshua, what do you want to do that you'll never retire from?" That's what we should be saying to our students.
Yes. Well said. You're a historian too.
Yes, I'm.
In the arts. What's your favorite era in the arts? What do you really enjoy talking about and learning more about?
Well, thank you. I am probably very unusual in that I'm not prejudiced. I could talk very deeply about abstract work, and I can explain to you why it evolved from a spiritual way. And I will say that. And I will also say the Renaissance, because they were talking about God.
Right.
So I love the Renaissance, which was classical and had the godship in it. And I can now talk about it in, I'm a New York State, go with rules, but I can bring in, I call it the age of faith. And we could bring in religions, we can bring in all of it and see how we're united. But then I could deeply I love to talk about abstract art, very, very opposite, because abstract art came because the Jewish people were the greatest patrons of art. We are obligated to give back. And when Nazis came in, and they not only did they kill us, but they killed the patrons. So fast forward to answer the question. I know I'm going round and round. So those intelligentsia in Europe came to New York. They named it the New York School, but it's not a school. It was where Hans Hofmann began teaching, which is what I know all about, and how he taught from nature. But the reason people gave up, became non-objective, is because of the Holocaust, because of World War II, because of all that they went through. They didn't want to look at sunflowers anymore. It was about emotion. We never had that. And many people don't understand it.
How interesting.
Or they don't think the Renaissance is old. I believe we're going into a Renaissance. Every once in 100 years, we get a Renaissance. Well, we are in it.
And what is this Renaissance?
Humanism, visual literacy, creative, sacred realism.
Beautiful.
So we could see, but also feel and think. We could take all of the generations and heal us. Tikkun olam, right? We've come to heal.
Beautiful. And that's kind of like your niche right now, the spiritual realism. Yes. What are you working on?
Well, I'm working on what you inspired me. You knew that I'm a historian. Well, I am a historian, but my favorite, which I don't get a chance very much to do, only maybe a chapter or two in my syllabus, is the divine feminine. And people used to say, well, what are you talking about? You remembered I said that. And you said, why don't you do the women from the Bible in a certain particular way, which I'm not going to divulge right now. I'm going to, because I'm pregnant with it, so to speak. And when I was pregnant with my son, my mother wouldn't let me have a shower until the baby was born. So I can't say what Bernie said, but this Bernie, I'm on summer now break, and I'm working on it.
Beautiful.
To kind of help heal the world through the beauty of woman,
Yeah.
and the women from the Bible. That's as much as I can say. Hopefully the show will be here soon.
Yeah. I can't wait to see the final product. We all are inspired by other people. There's nothing new under the sun, really. It's just that we have a new creation of it, a new way of expressing it. And so other people inspire us. You inspire me. I inspired you. We all inspire other people. And we grow together as a humanity when we inspire each other. It's a beautiful thing, but we have to be open to all of that. Some people are closed and say, I don't want to associate with this group of people or this person. They don't want to be inspired, but they're missing out on so much.
Yes.
Humanity is a beautiful thing. We all are kind of like spokes of a wheel. And the wheel is not stable until you have all the spokes together. Otherwise, it's kind of lopsided. So you're getting a lopsided view of the world if you're not really cherishing and embracing all the possibilities. That's why I like to travel. I like to try different foods, see different cultures. Makes me more of a complete human because these are other possibilities. It's almost like the multiverse concept. There's many potential universes out there, and each one is a little different. So it's really us. I am you, you are me, under different circumstances and different resources. So we create something different. But that's what's so beautiful. I like to see what you create with those resources, right? And other people want to see what I create with my resources. And that's why I really do enjoy the different flavors. If you ate the same food every single day, do you know you become numb to it? You don't even taste it after a while. Yeah. It's just like wearing a shirt. You feel it at first, but then you don't even know you're wearing a shirt.
Well said.
You become numb to it. And so you become numb to the same food. It's so important to mix your diet with different things from different areas, from different people.
I love to travel. My husband and I love to travel. I met him through Tommy Hilfiger. He took me all over the world to see the trends, but by getting to see the trends, I got to see different museums. And then I would love to go into the part of Paris where they call the Left Bank, and I would even see artifacts in the windows. Wherever I looked, there was art. There was the way the shops are kept, the museums. You see culture, you see people, and it's true, it brings us all together. And I'm an art junkie because I think that's where all the information comes from. It's all documented through creativity and word.
Beautiful. I was just there in the Left Bank.
Yes.
I was in Paris, and you're right, I really paid attention to the details.
Yeah.
And they really do pay attention to details in Paris, in France, in terms of food, which is an art form.
Oh, God, yeah.
Architecture, art form. Fashion, art form. Even their language, it's kind of very artsy, in the way they speak and the way they express themselves. It's like watching an entertainer, it's a performance, really. Food, the whole thing is just like you got to sit back without any judgment and just watch people from different cultures and really take it in and say, wow, if I lived here, I'd be just like that. So don't judge it because this is a different way you can be. And then you go to another place and it's another way that we can be. And it's just a beautiful thing to see the various colors and the shades and the various artworks. And some cultures use their bodies as a canvas. Right? What do you think about that? That's interesting too, right? I mean, we do it now a lot with tattooing, but this is taken from many cultures. For thousands of years, they've been doing these things.
Well, I'm interested in asking you, Bernie, because you're the one, you mentioned body, you've worked with the body.
Right.
And you inspired me with my collection to do something with the body. What is it that you find? Educate me on that. Like, what is it?
You mean as a chiropractor?
Yeah, and that you're interested in your art. I hear that word repeated.
Right.
Motion, body.
Yeah. I guess as a chiropractor, these are words, key words that we use. I retired a long time ago. I had a wonderful practice, but I moved on to the next thing. People ask me, do you miss doing this? Do you miss doing that? I don't miss anything. I'm living in the moment. So wherever I am, that's what I'm doing and enjoying at the moment. But when I talk about the body and the art, chiropractic is not just a science, it's a philosophy, but it's also an art form. And the fact that we make a connection with in a physical way with a body, with our hands, there's this dance between my hands and the person's body, and we have to know when to make the move, when to make the turn. There's a dance there, and there's a trust that the body, has a trust with us, and I have a trust with the body, and we're going to do this together, and we're going to make this move a beautiful move. It really is an art form. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but this is really what happens in my mind and my soul when I treated patients. It was really an art form and a connection between me and another person on a platform of healthcare.
So it's so interesting because this is what I love about art. What you're talking about is another modality.
Yes.
But it goes under the same umbrella.
It's all art.
It's also without it.
It's an expression of joy. All of it is an expression of joy and spirituality and a connection with something deeper, right? There's something, and it makes you spiritual. You can't help it. You can't escape it. If you want to talk yourself out of it, you can do that. But in essence, you feel something that brings up joy. It's like you become a fountain of joy, and it feels terrific.
Yes.
When you make that connection with something deeper in this cosmos. And whatever that is. And look, the Big Bang, they say, well, God created this universe, and there is a creator of some kind, right? Everybody has their own version of this creator. But even science, says that there's intelligence in the universe. There is intelligence. I mean, there's no accident that my eyeballs fit into my eye sockets perfectly. It's not an accident. All these things are designed. There's a design, but there has to be some form of intelligence to create. Even on the subatomic particles, there's communication between subatomic particles. There's things that we don't even know about, but you can see it in the laboratories, and they see it, and they say, when you observe something on a subatomic level, that the subatomic particles are influenced. They move a different direction. They stop doing something or they start doing something. And so there's some kind of a connection we have with something that's much deeper, much greater. And it's not necessarily observable, but that's what faith is all about. But the faith is based on reality. The reality is, look at this incredible planet. There's got to be some kind of intelligence to put this together. Life is just incredible. It's not like we live in a vacuum. We are connected to the earth, right? We breathe the oxygen. We release carbon dioxide. The trees take our carbon dioxide and do something else with it. There's a connection with everything. And the more we learn from science about what this connection is, the deeper we get. So any final thoughts on your end?
Yes, my final thought that's coming to my heart and why I think you're so special and what you're doing, and I think everybody should take this as a takeaway from this podcast, is when I look at you, and I want everyone who's listening to this to understand, because it's in your movie that you express, and I don't want to be a spoil killer for the movie, but Bernie, all of the things that you have done in your life, and this is what I want the young people to know, you don't stay with it. Every phase of where you are in your career is going to take you to your whole, what your life is supposed to be, the divine meaning. So you understanding the body, the movement, the connection, the spirituality, then you were in comedy, then you were in graphic design, and look at where you are now. You take my breath away, Bernie.
Thank you.
I could move in here because it would keep me very.
Well, this was a mansion. There are rooms upstairs. We should rent them out. Thank you so much for participating and sharing your heart, your soul, your mind with us, with our audience. And I'm grateful to have this opportunity. And thank you so much for the plug. I really appreciate that. But really, this was about you and what you contribute to humanity, and you do some great things. And I'm sure the students feel very fortunate. Those that know you and knew you are very fortunate to have been graced by your wisdom, your life wisdom. So thank you so much.
Thank you
for joining us, Ranelle Wolf, Professor Ranelle Wolf.
Thank you. God bless you, Bernie.
God bless you too. And God bless all of you.
And all of you.
And thank you for listening into HMTV right here at the Holocaust Memorial and Tolerance Center. I'm Bernie Furshpan. Until next time.